What does the best 17 look like for the Roosters in 2025? The zero tackle team, we have made our call and we're going to break it down for you in this video. But before we do that, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. We have plenty of NRL content coming out for you this year. But with all that being said, let's go. Roosters, a 2025 best 17. Before we get into it, make sure you're set for the new season with Zero Tackle's 2025 NRL Season Guide. The comprehensive season guide features over 120 pages of dedicated, detailed footy content ahead of the 2025 season, with profiles of every single player, team previews, fixtures, recruitment reports, and much, much more. Best of all, it's free. Get it now from zerotackle.com. And here to break down the best 17 for the Chooks, Darren Parkin, Zero Tackle analyst. Darren, face value, grim story on paper for the Roosters. They've lost millions of dollars in talent during the offseason, so they're probably going to be relying on some youngsters to come through.
Yeah, they are. It's, it looks like a daunting task, but it can be looked at as an exciting opportunity for Trent Robinson-Spenny. He'll present a lot of the young troops with those chances to step up. He'll try to obviously balance blooding talent with staying competitive as long as possible. I guess it's an even enough competition that you never know, but yeah, with that talent going out the door and the fact that two of their best players won't appear until beyond the halfway point of the season, it's going to be a bit of a slog, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right, let's get to it, and we'll start with the backs. All right, well, a no-brainer to start in the number one jersey at fullback, James Tedesco.
Yeah, Jimmy Tedesco to kick things off, the superstar. He's going to need to be at his very best if he's going to lift them. Obviously, Origin's off the table for him now, so fully available with the Roosters. But if he gets injured, where do they go? I mean, Sandon Smith is utilised somewhere else, but he could potentially go into that role. Do they go real development with Reece Foley or something like that? So I guess the key is they want him playing 26 times, and they'll clearly be better if he does.
Yep. And moving to the wingers, so Daniel Tupou and Dominic Young.
These are a couple of relative walk-up starts for them. They've got a lot of those intangibles that the coaches love, tough, reliable, competitive, smart, clutch. I think those two guys will, be pillars that they can build around a little bit. There's some talent. Junior Porger is a backup option who can play a number of roles as well.
Yep. And the centres, so Billy Smith, and we've had a bit of trouble with this name, so Mark Nawanga Nitawase.
Yeah, I don't think too many people would knock you for that. I think it's a pretty good crack. Yep. Billy's had a horrific run of injuries, and they certainly need him up and about. In terms of Nawanga Tinawase, rugby union convert, he'll battle for a spot with Robert Toyer, one of their youngsters. They've got a few backups in these options, in these spaces, but it looks like that's how they'll start.
Yep. And looking at the halves combination, so Sandon Smith and Sam Walker, who is injured.
Yeah, listed Sam Walker there. He's in their best 17. That's the purpose of the exercise, but obviously he won't. I mean, he'll come into the side middle of the year, recovering from an ACL he picked up in, I think it was round 24 last year. So Chad Townsend will start most likely in that role and needs to find a way to deliver. He's got a few things that work well for him, but was left out of the Cowboys in the back end of the year, which certainly puts a bit of pressure on him. And Sandon Smith, he'll stay there all year unless called upon to have to go into a fullback role, and that might open the door for someone like Toby Rodwell, who's a real young emerging star, to step in there.
All right, looking at the forwards now, starting with the props, so Spencer Leniu and Lindsay Collins.
Yeah, and then Victor Radley will probably take the lock role, and these three are fairly easy selections, I think, for them. Leniu had a really strong impact coming off the bench in the past, but he'll have to step into a starting role. They lost, obviously, Warry Hargraves, Terrell May as a couple of those players that left the group. So that does give them, some challenges, but I think he'll be one of the answers to that. Lindsay Collins, Queensland Origin rep, I think that's a no-brainer. And, Radley tops it off with, I think, a fairly easy trio.
Yep. And now in the number 9, another guy that is injured, but we're naming him at hooker, is Brandon Smith.
Yeah, he'll miss at least the first half of what is his last season at the Roosters as he recovers from an ACL. That was in the final game last year. So clearly in their best side, but they'll have to wait for that. Connor Watson will start. He worked really well off the bench in 2024, so it's a logical step up for him into this role. And then Tyler Moriarty will probably therefore become the backup. He'll move into the understudy role for the meantime.
Yep. And the finishing up with the second role, so Angus Crichton and Nat Butcher.
Yeah, Angus Crichton was a positive in a tough season for them. We'll start without too many objections. I think will have an influence, and Nat, not as clear cut of a selection as it once was, given his form issues. Certainly fluctuated a little bit. I reckon he gets first crack, but White, Butcher, Wong, these sorts of players are all in the mix, and if Butcher isn't careful, he'll have a few right behind him.
So looking at the interchange, now this is going to chop and change again, as we mentioned with those injuries, but we've named Connor Watson, Nafahu White, Siwa Wong, and Egan Butcher.
Yeah, so Connor Watson will eventually assume that role. As mentioned, Tyler Moriarty would be the understudy. So as Watson starts the season, Moriarty goes into that role. White, yeah, should be a no-brainer given his ability. He can play edge or middle, put some strong performances on the board late last year, and they get a bit of depth around the others as well. So going to have to play some musical chairs in the first half of the season, but yeah, there's a few things at least they can throw up there and have a look at.
All right, so that is a good-looking best 17. It's decent, but again, those two key injuries are probably going to play a huge part in the Roosters' start of the season.
When you factor in they lost, I think, 7 in the off-season, so you take those two out as well, that's 9 of a key group, and yeah, it takes a long time, doesn't matter who you are, to recover from that. So there'll be a little bit of pain, but not unexpected, so they should be able to settle in for the ride.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, so that is our best 17 here at Zero Tackle. Let us know what you guys think. Jump into the comments section and give us your opinion on the best 17 that we've named here. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. We've got plenty of NRL content coming out this year, along with our season guide, so you'll want to jump on that. Catch all the latest NRL news at zerotackle.com, and have a good one. Thank you for watching.